Ladies and gentlemen, we have an interesting topic today. This is about something that you're going to be seeing on the front page of Diablo Immortal, but it is not the first time it has made it to the front page of this subreddit. If you look here, there's a PSA saying, if you stop spending, you will likely be forced in a battleground losing streak by the matchmaking system. Now, he goes on to mention some anecdotal experience in his own personal stuff, which doesn't really matter, like his own win rate doesn't really matter in the terms of the talking point of this conversation. However, he does link to a patent, which is quite interesting. I myself, I'm going to pull up a video here, have covered literally back in 2021. I covered this with a FIFA patent talking about matchmaking patents and how it is influenced by microtransactions. You see, even 7 months ago, you will be able to find a Reddit post saying, "Today I learned Blizzard has a patent pending that uses unbalanced matchmaking to influence spending." This applies to all Blizzard games, not just Diablo Immortal. If you scroll down further, you're going to see an abstract from the actual article, or I should say from the patent itself, saying a system and method is provided that drives microtransactions in multiplayer video games. The system may include a microtransaction, arrange matches to influence game-related purchases. You see, there's one thing critically important about this. And for me, that is the matchmaking algorithm is sacred in PvP games. When you're playing a game that has a player versus player environment, the most important determining factor for that environment is being able to differentiate the skill level. It is not a very immersive PvP environment when you can't tell who's a very good player. It is also not a very good PvP environment when you cannot tell who should be at the top rank. You see, if there's somebody at the top rank, but you know for the fact the only reason they're at the top rank is because they have spent money, it invalidates everyone else's enjoyment of the PvP match. This seems fairly obvious, but knowing for a fact that I will get worse people on the other team because I paid doesn't really help. Think of it this way. Why would it be any different than, let's say you were in a high school basketball team and your coach paid the other coach to make some of the people sit on the bench? It's basically the same thing. It's literally determining who you're playing against on that court based upon how much money you have spent. So we eventually rise up in situations like this where people are not exactly satisfied with the way the game works. And now that they know for a fact there's a patent and it doesn't explicitly tell you exactly how the algorithm is going to work in the game you play, it's fair to assume that, hey, I didn't spend money this month. Maybe they're making me lose on purpose. You see, it takes the trust away from the PvP. It makes it impossible for you to determine, am I the reason I am failing? Which gives you something to get mad at and continue to be mad at. Instead of focusing on the game and getting better, you're focusing on, this is bullshit. This is the reason I'm losing. And it takes away the percentage of people that are going to enjoy the match. But for Diablo Immortal, the case actually gets bigger and it gets a little bit more in depth. You see, in PvP, there is a theory, and I have never got this confirmed, but I mean, I actually believe this myself, because if you actually play PvP and you'll straight up notice this, that there's sort of an MMR rank and it tones you to that MMR rank. The theory is that resonance effectively dictates where you are in the PvP ladder. So it's not about how you're playing, it's not about your score, etc. Which is why you can go 0 kills, 50 deaths and still gain 50 points, or why you can have a 0% win rate while still winning and climbing the ranks in bronze, silver, etc. You have a sort of MMR, and that MMR is associated with your resonance. Combine that with the fact that in the shop, you can basically just go to the shop, you can click on the Moonlight Trove, and I can just spend $200 and factually just purchase a gem that's going to be a 4 or 5 star gem. If I didn't have a 4 or 5 star gem, I've just purchased flat resonance, and that resonance is statistically making me a quote-unquote better PvP player. And I'm not talking from the skill aspect, I'm saying factually from if we look at the leaderboard. Once I go play, regardless of how I perform or if I win or lose, I will still climb that battleground leaderboard. I mean, look at me, okay? Bronze 1, I could lose every single game and still make it into legend. Like, your win rate doesn't matter in this game. What matters is your resonance. How is it possible that the number 1, the number 2, the number 3, 4, and 5, the top 6 players, this is the top 6 rated players, all have less than a 50% win rate? How is that possible in this game? So here's what Blizzard basically doesn't want you to know. that PvP doesn't matter. In this game, if you think you're good because you're up on the leaderboard, that's a joke. If you actually think that if you play the game better, you're going to climb more ranks because of it, that's a joke. PvP does not work that way in this game. The way you will climb is by having more resonance. And if you spend money, there's an argument to be made because we can't see the algorithm. We can't say for sure that they own patents that when you spend more money, factually give you a better odds of winning before the game even starts. And I'm not talking because of the power associated with spending that money. I'm talking because of the algorithm privilege that you get for having been someone to spend money in the game. So the real thing about this game is if you want to enjoy PvP, go enjoy PvP. That's fantastic. You do you and have a good time. But two things. One is we need a non-resonance variant of PvP, like the arena in Biofilm where we can go and fight, but where resonance does not matter. We need a leaderboard not associated with resonance where your win rate literally matters. We shouldn't have the top 6 players all have less than a 50% win rate. I've had a 30% win rate and been in some of the top players before. That doesn't make any sense, okay? And then the other thing is, if you go into the match and you're shit-talking people, telling people to get good at PvP, that's only ever embarrassing for you. I've seen this multiple times now, where I've gone into a match and I see people shit-talking the other people in PvP. If you are doing that, you are the one who is being embarrassed at that moment. That's all I want to say. I love y'all. See you on the next video.